Hello and welcome back. Today I'm just working on some cutout knives. This is a piece of 1095 steel. Still too hot to do any kind of forging, so just making a couple of cutout knives. This is coming in at just over 1/8 of an inch thick. It's going to be a small knife. I'm going to start by cutting it out on the bandsaw here. Alright, so this is kind of just knocking big hunks off of the bandsaw. I'm going to use my grinding wheel here. Go ahead and radius the inside of this handle. Alright, I'm over here at the belt sander. Got a 60 grit belt here to profile this thing. Alright, going to use the wheel. Alright, so I'm doing a little bit more shaping in here. Well, even though I started with a piece of bar stock, they're never really like 100% flat, so I'm just going to go ahead and flatten it the best I can on my platen. Still on the 60 grit belt. Got an 1/8 inch drill bit. It's going to have 1/8 inch pins. And now we're going to drill a couple of holes just for the epoxy to cross over. Uh-oh, that ain't gonna work. Yeah, these two holes here are for when I glue up, the epoxy will be able to cross over through the tang and glue to both sides of the scales, and it'll have the pins to mechanically lock it too. Alright, so now I switch to a brand new 120 grit belt. I'm going to go ahead and do some more flattening where I drill. Alright, with this brand new belt, I'm going to go ahead and get the bevels in. I'm going to attempt some sort of saber grind, I guess. Go about halfway up the width of the blade. the bevel on this side, just behind the point, is up a little bit higher than this side. So now I got to make that match, and I'll get that close and call it before I mess this thing up. Alright, so I'm going to stop here. We are a little thin in the back, so I will probably just bump that on here, and cause I don't know, that'll warp or whatever in heat treat. It's just a little thin, and usually the metal that thin will decarburize, so you kind of got to grind past it to get to the good hard metal. Alright, there we go. Bevels are in. Probably will go ahead and work on inside here next. This is my drum sander. This is what I use to do most of my radiuses. These things don't last very long, and I could eventually have to come up with something a little bit better or faster. Essentially what I need is a better belt grinder that has all the attachments, but this is what I got right now. This is what I do. Okay, and magically, and then there was two. Yeah, these cutouts I usually try to do, two at a time. I still got to come in and put some crossover holes for the epoxy here. This one here got a little bit more narrow. I came in at the wrong angle on one side, so I had to cut it down a little bit to even everything out. But when you're freehanding, sometimes it just happens. But yeah, this one turned out pretty much just how I was hoping it would. But this one still looks pretty cool. It's almost to the point where it's a Scandi grind, so Scandi grinds are cool. This one's about halfway up the blade, or a little bit less than. So maybe we'll call this one saber grind. I don't know. But next, I'm going to do some hand sanding while this thing is soft, and we're going to just do the bevels. The lines on the flats, I'm not too worried about. I'm just going to finish that off with a Scotch Brite finish, anyways. But as far as the bevels go, I'm going to go ahead and do some hand sanding on that. There are a whole bunch of fancy clamps you can buy. I pretty much just use a piece of wood. I wrap a terry cloth towel around it because yeah, the metal's soft, and just the wood will scratch it. Wood and whatever's on the wood. And I just use a drywall screw into one of the holes in the tangs, and I just got a nut to kind of apply pressure and hold it tight. So, and that's my clamp for hand sanding. I am going to probably just do 220 right off the bat, and yeah, we'll get this thing hand sanded and heat treat it. And another fancy tool I got is, well, this is actually not it, but this is the only other fancy tool I got. This is my sanding block. It's just a piece of metal. But on one side I kind of put an angle in it, and that's if I'm hitting something that has like a ricasso, and I can really get this up at an angle and push like that. I'll even wrap the sandpaper around it, then I'll get up there and get all those scratches out of where the ricasso starts. But this blade doesn't have a ricasso. The edge goes all the way right off the bat. If I had a better grinder and I had more variety belts, I am probably going to start ordering some finer belts. Try to speed up this process. I could probably omit this step entirely, at least before heat treat. But I don't care how good you are with a belt grinder, it's never going to come off completely flat on the bevels. You get these little micro facets in it that you really can't even see until you start going across the grain of the sanding marks, and that's when you see them. Like there's one here, and there's some up in here, right around the point. So I'm going to go ahead and do this work on both of them. And after we get past this, we're going to be ready for some heat treat. Alright, so it's time for heat treat. I'm going to take this piece of rebar, get it enforced, get it orange hot. I'm going to stick it in my oil. I'm just using my my ammo can right here. I got just two small knives, so I'm just going to use the ammo can to quench the two blades. So, but first we're going to have to preheat the oil. So here's the second one. And it's skating the file. So she's hard. Kind of got to file down to the hard. If you get the thin edge, you get the oxidation, and you get the probably like a decarburization area where it's so thin that it just burns the carbon out of it. But once you get down past that, you got a nice hard edge. So, and it's like that on both of them. So I have a 400-degree oven preheated. I'm going to go take these in the house and I'll let these temper for a couple hours. Then we'll be ready for some final finishing. So stay tuned. Alright, so all in all, not a bad day, pretty productive. We got 2 3-finger knives done. These are out of heat treat, 2-hour temper. And while that was tempering, I went ahead and ground out a kitchen knife. This is a 1095 kitchen knife. Same material, just over an eighth of an inch thick as these 2 knives. So these are ready for final finish, handle work, and all that good stuff. But as far as this video goes, we are done. I want to thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if you want, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Hopefully we'll be doing some forging if it ever cools down, but yep, stay tuned for that, and we'll see you on the next one.